Old Monster Hua was breaking out in a cold sweat. During this period of time, he was addicted to seclusion and had no idea what the people below him were doing. He just felt a powerful aura and had to make an emergency exit to face it. Looking at the other party's appearance, it was obvious that the person who came was evil, which made Old Monster Hua feel bitter in his mouth and made him feel confused. However, he soon came to his senses and bowed to the young man with slightly closed eyes high up in the sky. He handed over his hand, and the whole person fell onto the square. "Come here, tell me what good things you have done during this time." Seeing Old Monster Hua fall, many elders and deacons around him leaned over, and Old Monster Hua also shouted outright. After saying such words, he looked extremely angry. He glared at everyone and didn't know why these guys were able to offend such a strong man who made him tremble while he was in seclusion. "I don't know. We haven't done anything extraordinary during this time, right?" The top elders of the demonic poison sect recalled it, shook their heads, and immediately said that the matter had nothing to do with them. But the bald elder scratched his head and gave the fifth elder a deep look with some inexplicable meaning. The fifth elder was in deep panic at this moment. If others didn't know who the demonic poison sect had provoked during this period, then he knew best, let alone that. The visitor still shouted out the word "little medical fairy." You know, the original title of the little poisonous girl who was being hunted seemed to be the little medical fairy. "Sir, sect leader, it seems that the person in charge of affairs within the sect some time ago was the fifth elder." With a bit of yin and yang aura, the bald elder reminded him, and immediately, the eyes of all the demonic poison sect people present moved to the fifth elder, and his forehead was instantly covered with fine beads of sweat. "Bald man, what nonsense are you talking about?" The fifth elder pretended to be angry to cover up, and his expression changed drastically. For those who were familiar with him, it was natural that they could not hide it. Before they could take action, Old Monster Hua immediately snorted coldly, stepped forward suddenly, and suddenly the shackles of fighting spirit emerged, binding the fifth elder in place. "Lao Wu, tell me what happened." "Now is not the time for you and Lao For to argue." Hua Leguai's pressure came, with a slight chill, and he stared at the fifth elder. Facing the really angry leader of the demonic poison sect, the fifth elder lost his temper and whispered immediately, I am just taking revenge." Soon he told the whole story. With the help of the surrounding disciples and the bald elder, Old Monster Hua immediately understood the cause of the matter. "There is nothing wrong with taking revenge for your nephew, but you should never offend such a strong person."
Hua
Leguai's face turned cold. In order to avenge his descendants, this elder at the level of the 8-star fighter put the little medical fairy on the sect's kill list. However, the little medical fairy did not kill him, but instead repeatedly ordered demons to kill him. The poison sect disciples suffered a loss, and yesterday, a newly promoted low-star Dou King Elder died because of this. Lao Wu, you are so blind." When Old Monster Hua knew about this, his eyes were filled with anger, and he wanted to slap the fifth elder to death. But when he thought of Xiao Yan, who was still watching and waiting for the outcome of the matter, he had to suppress his thoughts. "You are the one who caused the matter. You should solve it yourself." Old Monster Hua let out a low cry and struck the fifth elder in the lower abdomen with a light palm. The latter immediately spurted out a mouthful of blood, but what shocked the fifth elder even more was that his dantian had been shattered by this palm. The Fighting King's cultivation was destroyed. Law enforcement team, capture all the disciples who participated in the mission issued by the fifth elder some time ago. A sudden change occurred, and the next second, Old Monster Hua shouted loudly again. For a moment, all the demonic poison sect members jumped out of their seats. It took about 5 minutes, and all the demonic poisoners who had participated in the pursuit of the little medical fairy where the disciples of the sect were all found. There were more than 20 people, and together with the fifth elder, they were surrounded by many disciples of the demonic poison sect. Old Monster Hua wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and immediately lowered his body slowly, cupped his fists and saluted, and said loudly to The sky. Senior, all the people involved in hunting down your female companion are here. The next second, I saw ripples in the space in front of me. Xiao Yan and the little medical fairy walked out of it. They looked at the 20 or so people surrounded in the center of the square and nodded slightly. Everyone in the demonic poison sect was still quite strong. Aware of current affairs. Boom. Immediately, Xiao Yan condensed his fighting energy into his palm, and then in full view of everyone, he suddenly slapped his palm down, and his palm, which was a full 10 feet in size, hit the center of the square. Suddenly, the whole mountain shook, and dark cracks spread. Come and tear the whole square apart. When the smoke and dust dissipated, a deep, large handprint appeared in the center of the square, and everyone who was in it before turned into pools of flesh and blood. There is me among you, you among me, regardless of each other. Although the people involved in this matter are dead, your demonic poison sect still needs to make compensation. It should be. Old Monster Hua wiped his cold sweat without leaving any trace, and quickly replied, while he personally led the two of them towards the treasure house of the demonic poison sect. Xiao Yan's slap seemed simple, but Hua Leiguai knew very well that even if he received that slap, there was absolutely no chance of survival. Spending some money to send this fierce god away was a worthwhile deal. After the demonic poison sect once again paid a large amount of extremely generous compensation, Xiao Yan let the other party go, and the culprit had been killed. For the sake of the demonic poison sect's knowledge, he would not be too lazy to do such things as exterminate the family, but taking the little medical fairy with him, he rushed towards the direction of 10,000 Scorpions Gate. Wanxia Mountain is located in the Scorpion Mountains and is the tallest peak among them. It is surrounded by steep mountain streams, which are filled with various colorful poisonous scorpions. The poisonous mist lingering in the mountain stream cliffs is also constant. It writhed slowly, revealing an unpleasant fishy smell, and soared into the sky. When I came here in the previous life, it was still quite dangerous. I still hid my identity and rushed up with many strong men from the poison sect. Recalling the memories of his last life, Xiao Yan also had a little emotion deep in his eyes, but that was what he did when he was weak. Now that his strength is enough to crush the entire Zumo Empire, there is no need to keep a low profile anymore. With the little medical fairy, Xiao Yan flies straight towards 10,000 Scorpions Mountain. A layer of Dou Qi barrier appeared in front of him out of thin air, quietly blocking the colorful poisonous mist. Although he is not afraid of those toxins, the little medical fairy's current cultivation level is still too low. Even if he has a disaster poison body, it is too dangerous to come into contact with these toxins rashly. Xiao Yan kept a high profile all the way and had no intention of hiding his figure. Therefore, when he arrived at the top of the 10,000 Scorpions Mountain, which is the headquarters of the 10,000 Scorpion sect, a large number of disciples and elders had gathered here. The formations are spread out, as if facing a powerful enemy. Not bad, such a big gesture. Xiao Yan looked around and murmured to himself, I have to say that the 10,000 Scorpion sect has a very strong foundation. Just the Do Wang level. Warriors at a glance. There are no less than 20 people. The number of powerful fighting kings in one sect exceeds the total number of the Jiama Empire, which makes people sigh with emotion at the power of the 10,000 Scorpion sect. Just this few people? Standing with his hands behind his back, Xiao Yan had no intention of taking this group of people seriously. He stood in the void out of thin air. This alone was enough to make the people of the 10,000 Scorpions sect extremely jealous. Suddenly, a tyrannical aura appeared, and then 3 appeared on the horizon and soon landed on the top of the 10,000 Scorpion Gate Mountain. The leader was dressed in blue, looked middle-aged, and had a stick around his waist. A short blue stick. His aura is very powerful, and he actually has the cultivation level of Do Huang at the peak. The 2 people behind him, Rui Ran, are not as good as Xieshan. In Xiao Yan's perception, they also have the cultivation level of Do Huang. Well, thanks to the Wan Scorpion sect not taking action back then, I am afraid that with the power of one sect, we would have suppressed the entire Jiama Empire. Xiao Yan thought secretly in his heart, but he soon put this idea in the back of his mind. When Xie Shan and others saw Xiao Yan standing in the void out of thin air, their pupils suddenly tightened, and they did not dare to be careless at all. He cupped his hands and said, "I wonder what you are doing when you come to my 10,000 scorpion sect." Although Xiao Yan looks young, his characteristics are undoubtedly things that only a strong dozone can achieve. "Oh, of course I'm here to destroy your 10,000 scorpion sect inheritance." The corners of his mouth were raised slightly, and Xiao Yan had no intention of hiding his thoughts. Although the 10,000 scorpion sect was very tyrannical, he was the stronger one now. In addition, due to the various causes and effects of the previous life, a cold light flickered in the depths of Xiao Yan's eyes. "Your Excellency, I wonder how our 10,000 scorpions sect has offended you." Hearing Xiao Yan's unscrupulous words, Xie Shan's expression suddenly changed. He never expected that Xiao Yan would do this. Not only that, the faces of many Wan Xie sect elders around him also changed slightly. The little medical fairy next to Xiao Yan was also slightly surprised. She could naturally see that everyone at the 10,000 Scorpion sect was far stronger than the demonic poison sect elder who chased her yesterday. Even though Xiao Yan has shown his tyrannical strength, the little medical fairy still feels a little worried about him. She gently pulled the corner of Xiao Yan's clothes, but Xiao Yan squeezed the little medical fairy's palm gently, as if in response. Then he looked at Xie Shan and others and said calmly, "Road. No reason needed." Xiao Yan was too lazy to explain anything. At this time, the 10,000 Scorpions sect had already colluded with the Soul Palace, and soon they would launch a war under the instructions of the Soul Palace. The purpose of the Iron Guardian of the Soul Palace, it is in such a war to collect the souls of the dead. If such a sect is kept, it will be a disaster. Your Excellency, you are a little too arrogant. Our 10,000 Scorpion sect is not one of those small sections. We are far worse than just relying on a strong dose sect like you to try to destroy our sect's inheritance. When Xie Shan saw that Xiao Yan could not move, he immediately stopped holding back and his face darkened. Immediately, a mark suddenly appeared in his hand, and many strong men from the 10,000 scorpions around him also burst into flames, and suddenly there were countless waves of different colors. A stream of fighting energy suddenly flew towards Xiao Yan. "Today, please let me die." The elders and disciples of Wanxia sect will obey the order and activate the sect-protecting formation. Xie Shan immediately shouted loudly. After the first wave of sneak attacks, they all joined forces and tried to use the sect-protecting formation to fight against Xiao Yan. What a joke. Facing the countless incoming Dou Qi streams, Xiao Yan's expression did not change at all. Instead, he snorted coldly and immediately waved his hand, and the countless Dou Qi attacks were immediately blocked. The faces of Xie Shan and others suddenly changed, but fortunately at this time, the sect-protecting formation had been condensed and formed. All the strong men of Wan Xie sect were constantly injecting fighting energy into it, and a blood-red formation was 30 feet long. The giant sword came down from above and slashed towards Xiao Yan. "Go to hell." Scorpion Mountain and others roared angrily. The sound was deafening, but Xiao Yan looked at the bloody giant sword that could destroy most of the entire Scorpion Mountain range, but the corners of his mouth slightly raised, and a joking expression appeared on his face. Then a huge jet-black iron ruler appeared in his hand, and he lightly brushed it, and suddenly the three-color fusion of strange fires intertwined and fused on it. Holding the Xianzhong ruler upside down, Xiao Yan suddenly slashed out a bright and blazing fire. Mang. Facing the bloody sword. The flame-devouring wave ruler. "Break it for me." Following Xiao Yan's low shout, the next second, the firelight and the bloody giant sword collided together. After a brief stalemate, the bloody giant sword was cut off, split into two pieces, and dissipated in midair. And the firelight continued unabated, directly slashing high into the sky and disappearing. Buffed. After receiving the influence of Qi, all the strong men of the 10,000 Scorpions sect spit out blood, were seriously injured, and lost their combat effectiveness in a short period of time. Damn, damn, don't be proud. Xiaoshan almost fell into madness. He did not expect that all the powerful men in the sect would be easily defeated by the young man in black robes in front of him. He reluctantly took out a blue bone whistle and put it to his mouth. Blow suddenly, accompanied by the strange rhythm changes soon. In the distance, a surging momentum appeared on a large mountain in the Scorpion Mountains, and the mountain exploded, and a huge scorpion with a length of 30 feet appeared in soaring high in the sky. There are 4 pairs of pitch-black wings behind it. Its hairy legs are like pillars, and its tail that can be retracted like a chain has a barb with a dark light, which is extremely terrifying. 4-winged sky scorpion, come on, kill this man. Xiaoshan shouted loudly, and the huge monster rushed toward Xiao Yan under the urging of the bone whistle. The body like a hill waved a crab claw as big as a house, with huge power. From top to bottom, it smashed toward Xiao Yan. Iron Protector, do you still want to continue watching? Xie Bian did not attack Xiao Yan directly, but shouted out a sentence directly, and as his words fell, a strong dark aura also appeared from the depths of Wanxia Gate. Following this wave of power, everyone in the surrounding 10,000 Scorpions sect was immediately shocked. Dozong, another Dozong, soon. Everyone in the 10,000 Scorpions sect turned this shock into a surprise. With the 2 powerful Dozong men joining forces, what capital did Xiao Yan have to make a comeback? Soon, a figure wrapped in black mist suddenly appeared next to Xie Bian, and with his appearance, the surrounding temperature dropped. Xie Bian, I never thought you would be afraid of such a boy. After the Iron Protector fell, with a bit of surprise, a pair of eyes swept across the air, and he laughed strangely, and Xie Bian also smiled back and spoke lightly, with a bit of fear in his voice. Said, haha, the Iron Protector is joking. Although this kid looks young, he is not an easy man. Even if I am alone, I may not be his opponent. Therefore, I would like to ask the Iron Protector to help me. Jia, it's okay for me to take action, but you know the reward when the time comes, right? Guardian Tai replied casually. Xiao Yan, who was on the side, looked at the exchange between the 2 calmly. Deep in his eyes, a hint of solemn emotion emerged again, and he murmured with a little solemnity, Iron Protector, as expected, you are already hiding here at this time. Soon, Xie Bian and Protector Tai discussed the remuneration strategy. The 2 looked at Xiao Yan, and Xiao Yan was not polite to the looks of the 2. Before they could say a few words, they were lukewarm. Xiao Yan said lightly, let's do it quickly, it's just 2 4-star Dozong, I want to see what tricks you can do. Following Xiao Yan's words, the fighting spirit spread like thunder and the expressions of Xie Bian and Tai Guardian suddenly changed. The former immediately shouted, you are so shameless, you will die. Then Xie Bian took the lead. Under the influence of the purple-black poisonous fighting energy, the crutch turned into a thick shadow and slammed in the direction of Xiao Yan. The Iron Protector also smiled coldly, and he did not speak. But accompanied by bursts of crashing sounds, countless dark chains suddenly appeared out of thin air from under the black mist and slammed towards Xiao Yan, facing the 2 attacks. Xiao Yan did not panic at all. He protected the little medical fairy behind him as before, and then waved the heavy ruler in his hand. Suddenly, a shadow barrier, like a cover, appeared, blocking all attacks. Stopped. Liuhe Yushenchi block. Along with the clanging sound, Xiao Yan's attacks were all bounced away by Xiao Yan. Impossible. The blood soul art will be broken by me. Seeing that the 2 people's joint attack could not even break through Xiao Yan's defense, Xie Bian's pupils suddenly tightened, and he couldn't hold it anymore. He immediately tore off his shirt, and a bloody giant scorpion tattoo appeared. On the chest, this blood scorpion is like a living thing, filled with a vicious aura. Judging from its ferocity, it seems to be more powerful than the previous 4-winged sky demon scorpion. The next second, the tattoo glowed with light, squirming as if alive, and merged with Xie Bian. With the movement, Xie Bian's aura also surged, and the entire body shape almost doubled in size. His whole body suddenly turned into a half-human, half-scorpion monster, and his aura went from the level of the 4-star Dozong to the peak level of the 5-star Dozong. With his strength soaring, he rushed towards Xiao Yan again, smashing 2 pairs of huge crab claws. "Come down!" The iron protector on the side also waved the chain again, and suddenly moved towards Xiao Yan. For a moment, the fighting spirit around him was rampant, and Xiao Yan seemed to be at a disadvantage. Noisy. Seeing the two of them displaying their trump cards, Xiao Yan was not polite. The moment they took a breath, Xiao Yan seized the opportunity and popped out his fingers. 2 strange fires suddenly appeared on his fingertips, and then in just 2 seconds, inside, the fusion was successful and turned into a green fire lotus. Under the horrified eyes of everyone in the 10,000 Scorpion sect, Xiao Yan casually waved his hand and pushed, and suddenly, the beautiful fire lotus was it flew directly towards the two of them. Boom! The fire lotus exploded, and the surrounding temperature suddenly soared. A huge fireball swept across the sky and earth, wrapping the two of them in it. Even the space was rippled by this huge explosion. As the aftermath of the explosion dissipated, the surrounding mountains exploded in an instant, and all the buildings on the 10,000 Scorpions mountain were completely blown away and turned into ruins. The next second, the cold-faced Xiao Yan waved his sleeves and robes, and the huge fireball immediately dispersed after the explosion. In the center swept by the terrifying explosion, 2 charcoal-like figures lay in it, unabated. The arrogance he had before, judging from his aura, he was already on the verge of death. Without letting them go, Xiao Yan waved his sleeves and robes again, shooting out 2 balls of blue strange fire, which instantly enveloped the two of them. With 2 shrill screams, Xia Bayan and Iron Protector were completely reduced to ashes and disappeared. On the fighting continent, following the death of the 2 men, Xiashan and others suddenly seemed to have lost their spiritual support and fell to the ground softly, lost and lost. As an accomplice, you deserve to die, and you will be given a good berth in your next life. Without hesitation, Xiao Yan showed no mercy to the senior officials of the 10,000 Scorpion sect. All the beings above the Do Wang were immediately killed by them one by one. Then Xiao Yan waved his hand. His voice was like rolling thunder, and with a spread of fighting spirit, it swept through the entire Wanxia mountain and said without any emotion, "From now on, there will be no man-scorpion sect in the Izumo Empire." After a pause, he continued to announce, "Give me half an hour and leave here." Xiao Yan did not care about the many ordinary disciples of the 10,000 Scorpion sect who were not as powerful as Do Wang. They were just ordinary people and posed no threat. Besides, the chief culprit had already been killed, and Xiao Yan was too lazy to commit more crimes. After announcing this shocking news, Xiao Yan followed the memory of his previous life and took the little medical ferry towards the treasure house, where the treasures of the 10,000 Scorpions sect were stored. Although he didn't like the things in it, he didn't care about them. For the little medical ferry, it is a very precious collection. Moreover, it also contains a lot of cultivation resources, martial arts, and fighting skills, which can be brought back to the Gamma Empire to enrich the inventory of the Flame Alliance. Thinking of this, an enchanting silhouette appeared in Xiao Yan's mind, making him touch his nose involuntarily. A vast and strange world. The energy of the heaven and earth here is much richer than anywhere else in the Jiama Empire. Not only that, the sky is dominated by blood, and there are no sun, moon, stars, and other celestial bodies. However, but it can illuminate the entire land thoroughly. This is the Soul World, the base camp of the Soul Clan, one of the 8 ancient races. It is also a large space opened up by the former Do Emperor of the Soul Clan himself, and right in the center of the Soul World, there is an extremely tall building. The building was pitch black, like a spire trying to pierce the sky. The highest point of the tower. There are 3 figures. One figure looks like a frail scholar, with a feather fan and turban, and a gentle face. The other figure is hidden in the black flames, but the strange flames have not spread. Instead, it seemed to be solidified, covering his body. As for the last figure, he was half kneeling in front of the two of them, reporting something with unusual respect. The figure with the feather fan and silk scarf originally had a somewhat gentle face, but when he was about to leave completely, Emperor Soul Heaven spoke again and said in a calm voice, "Xiao Mansion, you guys go ahead and don't worry about me." Xiao Yan has quietly left the Izumo Empire with the little medical fairy and returned to the Gamma Empire. It has been some time since Xiao Yan left the Jiama Empire. Counting various matters at Canaan College, plus a trip to the Izumo Empire first, several months have passed, and just after Xiao Yan left during this period of time, the Yan Alliance, with several major forces working together, has completely become the supreme behemoth of the Jiama Empire. The figure with the feather fan and silk scarf said lightly. Although there was no emotion in the voice, it was like this. The figure half kneeling on the ground was so frightened that it trembled and completely crawled to the ground. Clan leader, this matter is absolutely true. Our Soul Clan is a spy in the ancient clan, but it took a lot of hard work to pass on this information. After casually repelling the attack, Xiao Yan did not strike hard, but said with a slight smile. When the figure saw this, they were slightly startled at first, and then said with a bit of surprise, the Soul Clan elder, who had already entered the realm of Dou Shen, breathed a sigh of relief and immediately retreated, as if he had been pardoned. Is what you said true? Today's Xiao family is no longer the small family in Wutan City, with many resources brought back by Xiao Yan, coupled with existence of the Yan League and the help of the Miter family. Today's Xiao family has become a powerful family. There are numerous large families in the Ma Empire, and in order to develop, after discussion, they also moved from Wutan City to the Jiaji imperial capital. When Xiao Yan took the little medical ferry to the vicinity of Zhao's house, he looked at the crowd outside the courtyard and shook his head helplessly. Then he led the little medical ferry through the crowd and found it's a secluded place. With a tap of your feet, you can easily sneak into the courtyard from the walls several people high. Then he took the little medical ferry and began to walk slowly along the path in the new courtyard of the Xiao family. Compared with the previous one, the Xiao family's courtyard today is far larger in both area and magnificence. Soon, the news of Xiao Yan's return to the Xiao family spread throughout the Xiao family, and then Xiao Yan also took the little medical ferry to meet Xiao Zhan, Xiao Ding, and Xiao Li. Although the little medical fairy was a little cautious at first when facing such a battle, after the initial embarrassment, he gradually became able to integrate into the topic. After a few chats, they told each other about the recent situation. After a while, the Yan League has integrated all the resources and forces. Its strength and influence are no longer limited to the Jiama Empire. Even the surrounding empires have faintly heard of it. Xiao Yan took the little medical ferry and soon arrived at the Jiama imperial capital. In the most prosperous city, he walked along the streets to the most prosperous streets. After walking for a while along the road, he could see it is located in a huge courtyard, and above the gate, there is a brand new plaque with several large characters written in flying colors, making many pedestrians on the street stop and watch. After a long time, the Soul Emperor dismissed the Soul Clan elder with a wave of his hand, but as the figure half kneeling on the ground continued to talk, the gentleness on his face gradually began to fade, and then it turned rare and cold. Don't panic, it's me, young patriarch. Are you back? Xiao Yan nodded slightly, saw a few people still training, and immediately smiled and said, Izumo Empire. The most shocking news also spread and caused countless people to talk. The 10,000 Scorpion sect, which was always under pressure on the many forces in the Izumo Empire and made them gasp for breath, was actually disbanded. For a time, everyone with some strength and status in the Izumo Empire was shocked. With inquiries from interested people, they learned that the 10,000 Scorpion sect had provoked a mysterious dozong. The strong ones led to the execution of all high-level officials. The more these news traveled through Xuanhu, it caused many forces in the Izumo Empire to keep a low profile for fear of being burned. However, Xiao Yan, the initiator of all this, had no idea about it, or, even if he knew, he didn't care. My Soul Clan's Millennium Plan will never be allowed to be discovered by anyone. There happened to be a few figures in the yard. When he saw someone flying in, he launched an attack directly. Xiao Yan faced the incoming energy and did not dodge, and immediately popped out a few energy. The wind will defeat them all, and the man he called the clan leader, who looked like a weak scholar with a feather-pin turban, was surprisingly the clan leader of the Soul Clan and the strongest person in the Soul Clan, the Soul Heavenly Emperor. Forget it, just step back first. The half-kneeling man immediately told the story. Since the ancient jade of the Xiao clan has been in the hands of the ancient clan, those people you arranged should also withdraw from the northwest continent. It is no longer useful there. The imperial capital has become the headquarters of the Yan Alliance, and after this period of development, the Xiao family has also had 3 fighting kings and 5 fighting spirits, which are much stronger than before. While they were still communicating, Xiao Yan suddenly felt a familiar and powerful breath flying from a distance. With a thought in his mind, the corners of Xiao Yan's mouth couldn't stop rising. Soon, a stream of light fell into the courtyard. Before she could stand still, Xiao Yan opened his arms and hugged her.